On this edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
My first encounter with Shaq, even though hearing about him, it was a Dapper Dan game, and we were on the same team. And that's when the first time I saw the 7-footer rebound and take it coast to coast, boom, almost break the backboard on the other end of the court. I said, oh, yeah, he a little different. KG probably offensively was more gifted. He was a center, but he's really a forward. So his skill set was different,
Right.
even though he still amazes us. But
Yeah.
we're not as amazed as we've been just because we've seen the evolution of the game. And it was like when Magic came in playing point guard at 6'9".
Yeah.
You knew guys can handle the ball, but to the extent in which he did it, come on, man. Different.
So-
Walking through the layup line, Klein, former Bull. And I was like, Jimmy, my guy, man. They off him a little bit. Mike said, no, JJ, my guy. Just tell him that's why he wearing my shoes. Classic. And I said, you're right, and I'm not taking them off. We just talk about life and basketball. I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm Kobe's best friend.
Right. No.
All of that. But it gave me a little bit more context and insight into the mindset, why he was the way he was, how he thought, how he approached not only the game, but the game of life.
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who live those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher, joined now by a guy who was my broadcast partner for college basketball on Fox. He spent 14 years in the NBA. He was a McDonald's All American, first team All American at the Ohio State University. It's none other than the Jim Jackson. What's up, man? How are you, bro?
LA living, man, at its finest. It's great, man. Got no complaints, bro. It's good to see you. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a while since we were trekking around Big Ten territory, driving in rental cars and staying in different hotels. And we've come a long way, man. So it's been good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you doing this. You know, for me and you, we got to call the Big East tournament together. But
Yep.
the one that stands out to me is we did a tournament in Vegas together. And
Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Bruh. It was, and shout out to Fox and the people that put it on. It's grown bigger now.
yeah,
But that first year, it was probably us, the teams, student athletes, families, the
Mhm.
people who worked there, and some people in Vegas that have nothing else to do that came to the game.
And I just remember also like us being like, all right, where are we going? Where are we going? We going out? And do you remember we went to an Italian spot
Per-
off the strip?
Piero's. It's my
Okay.
spot. Piero's.
And do you remember who we saw sitting at the table next to us? So
It
we
wa-
did our game.
Yes,
And
yes.
we go over there. The Lakers were playing, and we wanted to watch the game. We sat down, and there was a round table with
Mhm.
about 6 people, like 5 older gentlemen and 1 younger guy. And I'm listening as I'm talking to you and watching TV, and I'm like, dude, I think that's the founder of Airbnb.
So you was ear hustling. Huh?
I learned from you. You know?
No, don't even try it. Don't even try. Is that who it was? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And so here we are, you and I are talking because there were Bentleys outside and you're like, okay, these guys are somebody. And
Well, let me preface that. This is an old school, so for our audience, this is an old school Italian restaurant. Think about old Vegas, where you go back in the meeting room and you start talking like this and you see the round table and they meet when nobody else is there. They had a room back there for the Jerry Tarkanian room. They were big supporters of UNLV back in the day. Actually, they used to cater the basketball teams pre-game meal and after the game meal and stuff like that. So this is an old mobbed up spot. I mean, just back in the day, Vegas, that's still excellent to this day. Piero's. Yes.
Piero's.
So when you see a round table and people sitting there, you kind of figure they're probably somebody. You just got to figure out who, and your ear hustling skills figured out who it was.
dude, I said to you, I was like, dude, I think that's that's the founder of Airbnb.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, no. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I started this company and we were like, damn, it really
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it really is.
Oh man. So, all right. So you have to take me back because obviously I want to talk to you about your NBA days and everything, but we're going to go way back right now. All right. We're going back to your high school days.
Best
And
times, man.
I was looking
Best
at some
times.
stuff. Dude, you're a McDonald's All American. Some of the guys that played in that game with you, Shaq,
Mhm.
Kenny Anderson, Bobby Hurley, Allen Houston.
Houston, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. My boy Tracy Murray. The 89 class was really good. I mean, we had a lot of talented players. The 88 class the year before us was, I mean, just as potent with Alonzo Mourning, Sean Kemp, Chris Jackson, later Mahmoud,
Damn.
Abdul Rauf. It was Gerard Mustaff in that class. But our 89 class had some sleepers too, like Tracy Murray. Remember Harold Miner?
Of course, Baby Jordan.
That's right. It was we had it was it was a crazy time. Let me tell you something about high school. Back then, because you didn't have social media.
Correct.
And AAU wasn't as prevalent and relevant as it is now. We had AAU, but it was just like something you did outside of going to basketball camp. Back then, it was all basketball camp. That's where you got your rankings. That's where you kind of tested your wares.
And 5-star was the camp.
That Nike ABCD.
Okay.
Those were the top two. Then you had Blue Chip, BC, and you had Metro Index. Okay, so but the beauty about those camps were you only had a chance to see some of the top players only a couple of times throughout the course of the summer. And then what it taught you, though, was one in the morning, imagine having on the court, you have stations at the rims, right? At each basket, you have a station, maybe a 6-minute, 12-minute station where you're doing drill work, whether it's rebounding, passing, shooting, dribbling, whatever it is, defense. So you had to compete. You wanted to compete in those drills and learn a lot. Okay. So you competed in the drills because you wanted coaches. You had college coaches that were a part of 5-star Blue Chip that were there lending their time. So they got a chance to see you at that time as well. And you had people that were scouting. So they would also look at not just how you play, but how you practice. What were your practice habits? How hard did you work? So you were competing in the station, and then you take a little break, and then in the afternoon you play 2 games. So you transferred what you learned earlier and tried to apply that in the game. It was the best, bro. It was the best. And that time, we had Street and Smith magazine and other publications where you would see who was ranked, at the top of the class. And it was Kenny Anderson at that time, and I was number 2 in that class. But high school was some of the best times of my life with regards to just playing basketball, because the purity of just playing the game for what it was, which was the game, but trying to be the best, is something I'll never forget.
So Kenny Anderson, for people who don't realize, Kenny Anderson goes to Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they were sick. They go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dennis Scott.
Yes. Like, they were a fun team. Bobby Kremen's the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, so you don't get a chance like it is now with AAU. When was the first time you saw Shaq in person?
It was at Dapper Dan Classic. So Shaq here's the funny part. So the rules were so different back then, bro. Shaq was in our 89 class, but growing up, he left Jersey. Stepfather was, of course, military, so he was down in San Antonio. Texas had the weirdest rule where players out of the state couldn't go to out-of-state camps and participate. If they did, they would be ruled ineligible. Oh. So Shaq was never at any of the big camps for whatever reason. And I may be quoting it wrong, but I thought that was a big thing. Like at Nike was invitation. That was the best of the best. That's where you saw everybody, okay? That were, whether you were a freshman in high school all the way to a senior, the top players in the country got invited to Nike. Shaq wasn't there. My first encounter with Shaq, even though hearing about him, was a Dapper Dan game, that's the name of it, in Pittsburgh. And we were on the same team. And that was the first time I saw Shaq. And that's when the first time I saw the 7-footer rebound and take it coast to coast. Boom, almost break the backboard on the other end of the court. I said, oh, yeah, he a little different. He a little different. And then we were in the McDonald's game and played some other stuff. But that was the first time. Out of all those years, that was the first time. That was after our senior year when we had already committed to where we're going to play college.
So you've already committed to Ohio State. He's already committed to LSU. And you just see this dude who's your age, and you're like, I thought
and this
I
was
was
skinny Shaq, too.
I know.
Still big, but athletic, mobile. I mean, just could pass it. But when you saw this, you heard about it. But okay. It was something different. To see him take it coast to coast and then just complete the puzzle with, a rim-shattering dunk was just amazing, bro.
See, for me, like I kind of remember, first of all, the McDonald's All American game back in the day, it was just different. It felt so big because we didn't get to see you guys play all the time.
That's right.
And so for me, I remember Kevin Garnett when he played in the game. And I'm watching this kid. I mean, I'm like, this dude's like a 7-footer. Like, what?
Don't tell KG that.
Yeah. And so that's basically what you were seeing with Shaq.
Yeah.
And Shaq was even bigger.
He was bigger. KG probably offensively was more gifted. I mean, because of the moves. He was a center, but he's really a forward. KG is a forward. He's not a center. He's a power forward. He may be a 3 if he came into the game right now. So his skill set was different, but still watching someone at that size do what they did at that time period. Now you're kind of accustomed to seeing big guys doing. Look at Wemby. I mean, this is just like, even though he still amazes us, but we're not as amazed as we've been just because we've seen the evolution of the game and of where 7-footer, 6'10" players are now playing. But back then, seeing that, it was like when Magic came in playing point guard at 6'9".
Yeah.
You knew guys can handle the ball, but to the extent in which he did it, come on, man. Different.
So tell me, talk to me about that week, the McDonald's week, when you get to kind of measure yourself against these guys that you've kind of seen in Street and Smith, maybe you've heard a little bit about. Now you're at the game. What's your takeaway?
Well, you got to think about it. We played against each other at Nike camp.
Okay.
So we've already encountered each other, the bulk of us, except for Shaq. This may be some of the players' first time playing against Shaq. Now, that year, Kenny Anderson couldn't play because he got hurt. So he missed that game, and Bobby Hurley was on the opposing team. So that was the big matchup because of, New Jersey, New York. But the hype was still there, but Kenny couldn't play. This is number one player in the country, okay? Keep in mind. And the year before at Nike camp, our junior year, Kenny couldn't come because he had to go to summer school. So they wanted to see Kenny Anderson match up against Chris Jackson.
Oh, okay.
And if you listen to Kenny said that was one of the guys when I played against, I just couldn't check. That was the guy that I'm not going to say fearful of, but I respected his game so much because of people don't understand how good my move was in high school. But back to leading up to that week, our game was in Kansas City, bro. The funny story. Kemper Arena was open at the time. So we're practicing, going through the stuff, and they have a concert. Remember a group called Tony?
Yeah.
So we all go to the concert, we kicking it, we doing stuff we ain't got no business doing. I ain't gonna tell you the whole story, but put it this way, Shaq and I almost got kicked out and not being able to play in that McDonald's game because of some of the activities that went on that night. And Shaq remind me to this day, yo, Jim, you almost got kicked out of. What you wanted, you grown man. As a freshman in high school, it was always my dream in my city, in my state, and to be one of the best players in the country. And for my freshman year, by going through and reading these different magazines about the best players, whether it was Marcus Liberty, J.R. Reed, it was Terry Mills, it was Alonzo Mourning, it was all these guys, and the Sean Kemps of the world. And I see Kenny Anderson as a number one freshman. It was always my goal to kind of get there. I don't want to be the best, and then to finally receive that recognition and be able to participate in that McDonald's game, which meant a lot. That said a lot about you as a player. That whole week was unreal. just to be there, to be one of the few that were able to participate, be amongst the best in the country at that time, to even be considered, to be one of the best was a blessing in itself. But it went by so quick too. The build up, the anticipation to get there. Once you get there, you practice doing everything. Then the game, then it's over. But I mean, we had a ball, Brad. We had a ball.
So I'm going to take you back. This is probably 14, and I'm in Miami with some friends, and we go to some club
in Miami, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in South Beach. All right, and
oh, man, it's going somewhere.
And so all of a sudden, I look over, and I see you and Zoe, and I was just like, Jim, and you're like, what? And so
That's
now,
right.
like,
I remember that. I was down there doing, I don't know what game I was doing. I was hanging out with, it might have been his birthday.
Yeah. And so you're like, dude, what are you doing here? And my buddy, who's one of my best friends who I was with, he's like, I was like, hey, Jim, this is my buddy, Todd, this is Jim. And he goes, Findlay High School.
Yeah. Cheaters.
And you said, tip, half court, alley-oop. And like, you knew right
off
away.
Off the jump ball. And they cheated us too, my junior year.
How?
They cheated us. Oh, man, they gave us the whistle, bro. But the play he's talking about, we had a tip ball in high school. I would tip it to our guard, circle around, and there was an alley-oop. And it was in Findlay. Do you know who else is from Findlay?
No.
Football player, Hall of Fame quarterback. Played one, two.
Oh, Roethlisberger.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Yep.
How about that? Small world being in Miami, too. I think it was around Zoe's birthday in January, something like that.
And Zoe was kind of like looking at me like, who is this dude? What's going on right now? Why is Jim talking?
That was my partner on TV.
Yeah. Man, that's so funny. So, okay. So now you go to Ohio State.
Yep.
You're from Ohio. Was there ever a thought not to go be a Buckeye?
I never wanted to go to Ohio State. It was probably the fourth school out of my top 5.
What?
Yeah. You gotta think, at the time I grew up, we were fortunate that ESPN and the Big East came in at the same time, basically.
Right.
And that's how the TV partnership really began with what we saw with college basketball and partnering with the league and a network. That was ESPN, the Big East. Big East was formed around just a basketball conference that would be on TV, which was ESPN. So you saw a lot more Big East games at that time. So the Georgetowns, the Syracuse, the Providence, the UConns, St. John's. I'm watching all these games, Walter Berry, Mark Jackson, it was Sheldon Williams. It was Willie Glass. It was at Syracuse, the Pearl. Okay, Matt Rowe, Ronnie Cycli, DC. All these players, Georgetown, come on, Patrick Ewing, Michael Jackson, Ed Hope, Reggie Williams, David Wingate. So I'm enamored by Big East basketball. Big East Monday used to come on.
Yep.
Man, at home watching it, right? So when I really started getting recruited, and after my freshman year, it was Big East. So Syracuse was actually my number one choice. And ironically, it was Kenny's, Anderson. So we were going to the same school. We actually took our Syracuse visit together.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That was our thing. It was Syracuse. Our 3 schools were the same: Syracuse, North Carolina, Georgetown.
And neither one of you ended up at any of those 3 schools.
No, it's funny. At the time, Dean Smith played freshman, but he wasn't. He was a little bit more reluctant to play freshman. Now, if Kenny would have went there, King Rice was there at the time, but I think he would have been a senior when Kenny came in. That's another name, King Rice, who's from New York. Bink. He played in the McDonald's game. Actually, was a heck of a football player in high school too, King Rice. But it's funny. Okay, so imagine this is '88. And we're making decision on what we want to do going into the year 1989. So we would stay in touch. But, we had the rotary phones. You had to call up, long cord, hope the line not busy. Two-way calling might have been in by then. Yeah, two-way calling was in. So Kenny and I would stay in touch. So Kenny hits me, was like, he's going to Georgia Tech. I'm like, where did that come from? Came out of nowhere. Because we never really talked about that. Bobby Cremins, man,
Exactly.
back then you walk a little heavy in the pockets. You know what I mean? I don't know what was going on. Pockets was real heavy down in Atlanta. But Kenny does that. And so, but the reason why I never thought about Ohio State is that, think about it. At that time, Ohio State wasn't that good in basketball. Okay, now,
Correct.
let me preface this by saying that Gary Williams came in 87, maybe 86, started to turn the program around. A friend of mine, Dennis Hobson, played there, is from Toledo, ended up being second leading scorer in the nation, number 3 pick by the New Jersey Nets in 87, came out the same year with David Robinson. Okay? So things that started to change. Gary, East Coast guy, started recruiting. You had Perry Carter, McDonald's All American from DC, Tregley from Cleveland, McDonald's All American, Chris Jett from Sparta, New Jersey. Mark Baker was an All American. So he started building Ohio players, but also some, guys outside of that. And I saw that. And my mentors were like, listen, you can go anywhere you want, but if you're a part of something that builds, you're from Ohio, it's something that'll be long lasting. The alumni take care. I didn't know it. I really didn't know what it meant at the time.
Right.
But I understood it once I was there. And to be a part of the resurgence of the basketball program with the outstanding teammates I had at the time and coaching, shout out to Randy Ayers, who took over at 33 years old. It was the best decision I made.
Love that you made the decision. I love that it worked out for you. As a basketball fan, I can't help but think about how much fun it would have been to see Kenny Anderson and Jim Jackson in the backcourt together at Syracuse.
With
Like
Billy
that-
Owens. Billy Owens as a forward.
Derek Coleman.
Yeah, DC left after his freshman year.
No.
I mean, no, he left after. Yeah, no, DC left. So
because Derek Coleman was with the Nets, and then Kenny Anderson went to the Nets, and they were teammates.
Yeah, but you think about it. Kenny left in '91 after his sophomore year. So Derek was already in the league a year or two.
Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Whatever it is, like that
would have been amazing, man.
Like that's what I've learned when I'm talking to different guys, like Donnie Marshall, right? Donnie told me on this podcast that he was supposed to be the 5th member of the Fab Five. And I was like, wait, what? He goes, they offered me the scholarship. They're the first school to offer. If I said yes, Ray Jackson has to go somewhere else.
Right.
I said yes to UConn, so Ray Jackson goes to Ohio State.
Yeah, the domino effect.
Yes.
Well, they always tear it off. Like, here's our number 1 recruit. If we can't get him, here's what's behind them, blah, 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 just in case they fall off the board. That's how it works, though.
And you did put Ohio State on the map. Like, you put Ohio State back on the map in basketball. Because I remember, I used to get the Sporting News.
Sporting News.
Yes.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that you were on the cover maybe multiple times of the Sporting News. And I was like, who is this dude? First of all, you always looked like you should be playing football, not basketball.
And that's my favorite sport growing up. I played football.
Football. What position?
Tight end, defensive end when I was in high school.
I mean, dude, you
Only
still look like you can play. And so I was like, man, who is this guy? Because I was a fan of the Fab Five.
Yeah.
And I thought, right. I mean, why not? Right. But you were like, everyone's like, no, this dude's the deal. And then I'm looking back at your last year, the first team All-American team. Can you name it off the top of your head?
My last year, it was Alonzo, Christian, Shaq, myself, and who am I missing?
You mentioned him before, Baby Jordan.
Yeah. Oh, Harold Miner. Yeah, Harold Miner.
Yeah.
So it was 3 juniors and 2 seniors. How about that? Because Alonzo and Christian were seniors.
Right.
That year. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, no, man. And we played Harold. Actually, at my junior year, we played USC out here, out in LA. Overtime game. He was on the cover or inside of Sports Illustrated, up in the air, cradled, caught the inbounds pass and popped it in to win the game. Classic game.
Oh my gosh. So
Memories, man.
I'm thinking about those teams and I'm like Laettner, Shaq, Zoe,
Mm-hmm.
Jim, Miner. Like you can't have many better first team All American units. Like that's one thing I'd love to compare. You know, everyone talks about different things. Like
Yep.
take first
Uh-huh.
team All American every
Mm-hmm.
year and see how I would put your squad up there.
I would too. Now you got to think about this too. Christian Laettner was one of the best players to ever play college basketball. I don't care if you liked him or not.
Right.
When you look at what he was able to accomplish at Duke, whoever you put him against, even as the Fab Five, when they came to Michigan and played, and they had to play him later on. I don't care. UNLV. Now UNLV got him his junior year
Hmm.
when they put it to him. Don't get me
But he
wrong.
got him back.
He got him back. But as far as like Bobby Hurley, the numbers, and it comes down to winning. What they were able to do. They dominated the ACC. His skill set at that time at 6'10" to be able to get out to the free throw line, bring the big out, shoot it, pass it, his post game, IQ, one of the best players to ever play college basketball. And I think people take that away because maybe his pro career didn't live up to the hype, but a lot of players, sometimes the game doesn't translate.
Hmm.
Okay. You put Christian Laettner in today's game, oh, he's killing it. Okay. But back then, the skill set at the power forward position was tough. That was one of the tougher positions to play, along with two guard and center, coming out during our era.
Hmm.
So you talking about Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Sean Kemp, stuff like that at the four. Come on, bro. I mean, that's tough. But I mean, then Shaq and Lonzo. I mean, Lonzo was number one player in the country coming out in '88. Okay, what he was able to do at Georgetown, the menace inside with Dikembe. I mean, it's interesting when you go back and look at time and look at the players and then kind of track their careers and what they were able to accomplish. You think about it: Hall of Fame, Shaq; Hall of Fame, Alonzo.
It's pretty sick.
Yep.
And it's just fun for me to go back and look at it. And just by kind of talking to you right now and you talking about like Shaq still says stuff to you,
Hmm.
what was it like going into the league and going up against these guys now that maybe you were in the, you know, McDonald's All American game with, and now you're
Mhm.
going up against them in the league? Does that help like offset the starstruck, the awestruck of going up against other guys because you're like, oh, these are dudes I've
Nah,
competed
bro.
against before?
It's something about that's great, but it's something about playing against professionals and pros that you watch growing up. Dominique playing against. I miss Bird because he retired.
Yep.
But playing against Magic, playing against Mike. Now, there's Mike was, let me preface this too. I didn't have a full rookie year because I
Right.
held out. Okay. So
Hmm.
I only played 28 games. So I missed, but I got a chance to play my first two games. This is who I played. When I finally signed my contract in the Mavericks, wanted to stop acting cheap. Okay. And finally signed the deal that they were supposed to back in the summer. First game I play at home against the Houston Rockets. Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde
Clyde.
Drexler, Vernon
Wait,
Maxwell
wait. Was Clyde with them then?
in '92.
No, Clyde was in
I mean,
Portland.
it was before because that's the year that Michael and them won it when they
Okay.
beat Portland. But it was the year
Okay.
before. But so it's the year before. So that's so 92, 93 year.
Yeah.
No,
So you're
not
since
yep.
Kenny Smith,
Kenny Smith, Vernon
Olajuwon,
Maxwell,
Otis Thorpe.
Elijah, Otis Thorpe, that whole crew.
Yes.
Okay, bruh. My second game is Phoenix. Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, that crew. That back to back, those were my games. No training camp, couple days of practice, haven't played. Those were my introductions to the NBA with 28 games left in the season, my rookie year. So my rookie year was a lot different in
Right.
experience than my counterparts who got drafted with me in that class.
Because in that trap, for people who don't know, it goes Shaq, Zoe. Shaq goes to the Magic. Zoe goes to the Hornets. Laettner goes to the T-Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the Mavericks. So what
Yep.
happened with the holdout? Because you just said like, oh, they were supposed to sign that deal in the summer
Well, they were.
and they went back.
Well,
happened?
in today's world with rookies, you have the rookie salary cap
Right.
scale. So you pretty much know if 1 through 15, the lottery, where you're going, what you'll get paid, and things like that. Back then, it was market value. So if the number one pick based off of last year signed, let's say, a 6-year deal worth $20 million. I don't know. I'm just saying. Market value, certain percentage goes up. Shaq is going to sign a 6-year deal, 24, 25. So on, then it trickles down. So Christian Laettner was 3. So he signed a 6-year, $23, $24 million deal, something like that at Minnesota. I fell next. So the Mavericks at that time, Norm Sanju was the GM, was like, well, we don't know if we had several meetings with this. And Donald Carter, the former owner of the Mavericks, were like, we don't know if we should pay a guard this amount of money. I said, well, it doesn't matter if it's guard or not. It's the 4th pick. You shouldn't have picked the pick. Kenny Anderson went number 2.
7 or so.
No, he went number 2 the year before to the Nets. So you can't tell me about a guard. And they said, well, our 2 previous picks didn't quite pan out. I said, but that's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
The market is what the market is. I'm not going to ask more than what the 3rd pick is getting, but I'm not taking less than what the 5th pick. Okay? They wanted to pay me a contract that was commensurate to like the 8th or 9th pick. I was like, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's real simple math. I fall within this parameter. I'm not asking for more, but I'm not taking less. What's the math? The Mavericks didn't want to pay me. So I held out, and people don't understand this. When I'm holding out, I remember watching games on NBC and Magic, and those guys were doing a game, and near the beginning of the year, they was like, well, we don't understand why this rookie is holding out. He just needs to come in and sign the contract. He'll get stuff later. I'm like, one, Magic, you've never been in a position, and then Magic's my guy. He had to worry about free agency. He wasn't going nowhere. He was Magic Johnson. He never had to worry about that. When he came into the Lakers, he didn't have to worry about it. They took care of him. So a lot easier said than done. 2, if I sign a deal that's less than what it's worth, that has an impact on my future deals. But not only that, it has an impact on the 4th pick in the following year, which would have been Jamal Mashburn. Okay? So it's a lot of things going on here. But more importantly, it affects me. Like, look, you picked me at the 4th pick. This is what the market says I should be at. So we had this whole thing going, Justin, the whole time. So I got people talking about this, and you should. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not sacrificing that. I know my principles, and I know what this means with regards to a team taking advantage of a situation. And my agent, Mark Termini, out of Cleveland, was like, Jimmy, whatever you want to do, I'm going to lay it out for you. Here's what's going on. I'm going to tell you what I think, but you ultimately got to, one, make the decision and deal with the ramifications that come with holding out. Okay? So I said, I'm not doing it, bro. I'm out. So the whole time I am sitting out. Okay? And then we caught wind that it was an owners meeting, and David Stern told the owners that you need to scale back on paying these rookies this much money. And you can't do that. That's collusion. Because then you suppress what the market value is on a certain class of players. We got wind of it, took it to the Players Association, and we're about to file a lawsuit. So mind you, I had a deal earlier, I think it was Cleveland, that offered a 6-year, $21 million deal on a trade for the pick. Mavericks said no. Why is that important? Because if we would have won our collusion lawsuit, I would have been paid double that amount. So the Mavericks, and this is how ironic this stuff is, people on the outside not looking in. You go back to the pitchers' press conference. Quinn Buckner was there when I finally was ready to sign. Norm Sanju, the general manager, but also Donald Carter. Everybody's happy and laughing. We're so glad we got this done and blah, blah. I'm sitting there looking like, yeah, we got it done because I was about to I was getting ready to file a lawsuit. Not because you wanted to, not because it was the right thing to do. It was because of this lawsuit that was about to come down. That was my first introduction into the business of basketball.
Did that take away like some of that love of the game? Is that why the high school days were the best days? Because it was just you hooping and not business?
Well, what took away a lot of love we were losing early in Dallas. That that in itself. But when I got to Dallas that year, the Mavericks only won 4 games. Okay, now mind you, got 28 games left. So you tell me 28 minus 72 is what? 28 minus 72 is that 54?
Gosh, I can't do math right now. I
I
got no
think
sleep
I think
last
so.
night.
82 game schedule, 2 and 50. I mean 4 and 54, or 4 and 50. I think the Mavericks were at the time. 54 games.
Okay.
We ended up winning 7 out of the last 28. Better winning percentage,
Much better.
compared to
Yep.
what it was. But then the following year, when Jamal came in, talking about love of the game, we win 13 games. So we won 11 games, close to breaking the Philadelphia or tying the record at 9, I believe it was. The next year, we win 13 games. So you're talking about love of the game. You really got to love the game when you know you have no chance to get to the playoffs in December.
Yeah.
Okay?
Jeez.
Yeah. But as a young player, you're still trying to prove yourself and understand the league, and you just go play, not understanding what's going on, and you're living in this world that you dreamed about. But it's tough when you lose early in the way we were losing.
So you draft Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
The next year you draft Kid.
Yep.
And it's the 3 of you guys. And then I think it's in your 3rd year where you have 50 points in a game.
Mm-hmm. 2 weeks after Jamal had his in Chicago, first year without Jordan in United Center.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, because I remember looking at this team going, Jackson, Mashburn, Kid,
Mm-hmm.
they got something brewing here.
Yeah. I mean, we
Like,
did. I mean, think about it. I mean, Jamal, that year, the year before, we both averaged 19. That year, that was Jamal's rookie year.
Yep.
Next year with J Kid, he took us to another level. I was averaging a little under 26. Jamal was just a little under 25. Okay. Dick Mata was the coach. We had a great, outstanding offense that made it easier to score by getting a lot of layups in transition, backdoor cuts. We both got to the free throw line a lot. We had a great passing forward in Popeye Jones that was so underrated. He led the league in offensive rebounds that year. But getting the hands in between Popeye and J Kidd, if you were open, the ball was coming to you. So it made scoring the ball a lot easier. I ain't saying it's easy, but it made it a lot easier. But then 51 games into that season, I tore my ankle up in Jersey, doing something I had no business doing, which is breaking a pregame or a game superstition. I changed my shoes. Yeah. I was wearing these Air Flights Nikes, rolling. I didn't tape my ankles at the time. And then, you remember the Hirachis? The first run of the Hirachis that Fab Five were wearing.
oh, yes.
Okay. So Nike was like, well, we want you to wear these shoes. So I saw them. I said, they look good. Okay. Sent them to Jersey. I get them and they're really flimsy, like light, like soft. So I try them on and I'm like, these things don't feel good. So I say, forget it. Then get out my head, go in the layup line, and I'm warming up and I'm like, I need to change these shoes. I said, you know what? At halftime, I'm going to go back to my shoes. I don't know, it was 5, 6, 7 minutes into the first quarter. Mind you, we just came off a game. We beat Washington the night before. J Kidd got hurt. I had like 44. We came back and won the game. That was the C Webb, Rasheed Wallace, Jawan, Tim Lager was on that team. The Dale Echoes. Anyway, so I started off the game in Jersey pretty good. Boom. 3rd-degree sprain in my ankle. They said it'd been better if I'd have broke it.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital afterwards. I think they popped it back in, whatever it was. But that changed everything for me. And I think for the trajectory of our team, that injury.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of led you on the journey of 12 teams, 14 years, never having that one place. But the crazy part about that is I was looking at the teams that you were with and the players that you got to play with.
Oh, yeah.
I
Blessing.
mean,
Blessing, bro.
I'm like, so I'm gonna throw out some teams to you. Phoenix Suns 0405.
Steve Nash, Amari, Sean, Quentin Richardson, Joe Johnson, Leandro Barbosa.
Yep. That was the height of Steve Nash.
That was his first
And
year. That's his first MVP.
Right. And Amari's coming in as this freak out of high school.
Yeah. Well, he was there, a couple years in, but that's when it was 7 seconds or less. The ball was up.
D'Antoni.
Yep, D'Antoni. And I came in from Houston. It was awesome. That's a whole different story because Houston, Jeff Van Gundy, who I now work with the Clippers, and Ty Lue was on our squad, okay, in Houston. We're in Houston after Christmas. This is how the league is, man. After Christmas game, had a good game. Jeff and I used to talk all the time. I was the captain. Calls me, and I'm thinking he's just talking. He said, Jimmy, we made a trade. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we'll make a trade. We traded Boston Nagbar and you to New Orleans. I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, he repeated it. I said, oh, okay, but I'm not going. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to New Orleans. He said, well, this is the trade. I said, that's okay. You can do what you want. David Wesley ended up going. That's when he went to Houston. And Byron Scott was the coach in New Orleans. So the front office in New Orleans, they all called me, congratulating. We can't wait till you get here. I said, no disrespect. I appreciate you, but I'm not coming. I'm not coming to New Orleans. They went, what do you mean? I said, I'm 33 years old, man. I'm not coming down there to be trade bait after the season is over with. You don't want a disgruntled player coming down. I don't want to be there. So I'm not coming. Well, we're going to fine you for the day. Okay, well, you just had to fine me. I wanted to take control of my career at that time. I just was sick of it. I'm like, I'm doing what I'm doing in Houston and you trade me. Okay, you got that right, but I'm not going to New Orleans. That's how I ended up in Phoenix. Once I got picked up because Phoenix had some injuries and they needed to fill the slot. And it worked out perfectly. Sometimes you got to take control, Just. Yeah, sometimes you got to shake the dice and trust your instinct, deal with whatever comes with it. I've been through it before, been through a holdout, been through the negativity, but I just said, I can't do it again. I don't want to go back to it. I had Sacramento got to the playoffs. Phoenix got to the playoffs. Houston, I got to the playoffs. I was like Portland before. I was like, man, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go backwards. And I took a chance on myself and had, a year and a half of great times with that Phoenix organization.
Talk to me about Jason Kidd as a point guard and Steve Nash as a point guard.
It's hard to compare because Steve was older, Jason was young. This is Jason's first and second year in the league. Okay? Raw talent, powerful, strong, fast, IQ out the wazoo, would be able to identify plays and gaps up ahead of time. Because, listen, what people don't understand is that our time in Dallas was short-lived for a number of different factors. Yes, it was some contention between Jason and I, no doubt, but that wasn't the crux of it. The crux of it was I had 4 coaches, 3 owners in 5 years. Jay Kidd had 2 different owners. Mash had 3 different owners, 3 different coaches. Okay? It's no way that you're going to be able to have any kind of sustainability or consistency in an organization when you have that much turnover. Usually it's with coaches, but when you have ownership changeover, that means you have management changeover. That means you have a difference in philosophy. So every year you're doing something different. So we never had a chance. Mark Cuban bought the team later. He stabilized that franchise. But for the time period that I was there, I came in my rookie year and Gar Herb was the interim head coach because they fired Richie Adebayo earlier that year. Quinn Buckner, who's a friend of mine now, was a first-year coach my second year, trying to run the triangle like Chicago.
Right.
They ran the triangle when we played them. We ran it. It looked totally different. All right. It's miles apart. Dick Mata stabilized us, but then he started causing some stuff. And then Jim Clemens, Ohio State guy with the Bulls, comes in, never coached before. So at 2 head coaches, one who never was in the league as a coach, which was Quinn, never coached. 2, Jim Clemens we had that was in the league but was an assistant coach but never head coach. So you tell me.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of factors going against you to be successful.
Think about this. Jason, Jamal, and I never played a complete 82-game season. Let that sink in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So as much as people talk about, the 3 J's, and Jamal and I played a complete year. His rookie year, my second year. Jason comes in, I get hurt. The following season, Jamal gets hurt. Then the following season, we all get traded. So we never stood a chance. Now, some of that was maybe the immaturity on all of us. Jamal was on my podcast, and we were talking about stuff. You get people pulling you different ways, but we understood J. Kidd was going to be the guy. That never was in doubt who was going to kind of be, because Jason Kidd at that time wasn't a real vocal leader. I don't think he was throughout his career. That's why it surprised me when he wanted to be a coach, because he was more of the lead by example in practice, how he played, how hard he played in the game. He would direct you, but he wasn't going to be the voice in the locker room. And at that time, maybe he was being young. That just wasn't in personality. I was more vocal at the time. But that's why the comparison is tough, because you had a mature Steve Nash that kind of went through his time in Dallas and now kind of found out who he was and was right in that sweet spot of his career. But you got an early Jason Kidd, you kind of knew where it was going. But he was just different at his size. Didn't shoot the ball that well, but when he did, that just opened up the game for him. But what they both had that was very similar was the ability to run a team and put guys in position that they could just catch and score. Left-hand passes, right-hand passes. They got to their spots. They made the right decision. J. Kidd was a better defensive player. But, I mean, the similarities were here and how to run an offense.
I've heard stories, and there's been interviews of Shaq talking about how he left Orlando to go to LA, and maybe if he had to do it all over again, he'd stay with Penny, and who knows what could have happened with those two. You said you had MASH on your podcast. You guys ever think about the what ifs?
Oh yeah, all the time.
You do.
Yeah. I mean, what if I didn't, what if I'd have wore my shoes and maybe the ankle injury wasn't that bad? What if Jamal didn't get hurt the next year with his knee? It's a lot of what ifs. Injuries you can't control.
Right.
Okay. That's the thing. The what if in my career is I never got a chance to grow into the player I thought I could have been post my injury. So what if we could have stayed and we could have made playoff runs and it could have been an integral part of really rebuilding that, and the three of us grow and they add more components to it and now we're competing. I never had that. And then you don't have a home in the NBA either. A lot of players, you're really good players, you got a home. Okay, you were a part of this organization for so long, you're associated with this. I don't. I mean, I'm more associated with the Mavericks because that was my longest tenure. But a lot of things you look back on, but it's still, don't get me wrong, I'm blessed. But as a competitor and as a player, it's always things you feel like you left on the table, whether you did it yourself by some of the decisions you made, or it was injury and other factors that prevented you from really reaching what I would say your full potential as a basketball. But how many stories of that do we know? Grant Hill, for example.
Yeah, I mean, Grant, and you talk about Grant Hill, the what if. I mean,
what if?
It was supposed to be Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, and Tim Duncan going to Orlando. I mean, just things that could have been.
Well, Grant Hill, if he doesn't hurt his ankle. Okay? He was the next. Listen, that year, J. Kidd, they were co-rookies. When the last time you had a co-rookie of the year? J. Kidd and Grant Hill. Grant Hill was on that left-hand side of the court with that crossover, and you knew it was coming. You couldn't stop it.
And you couldn't stop it, and he didn't have a jump shot.
Nope, he had a little pull-up 15-footer. But at the time, the mid-range was where you needed to work anyway.
Mhm.
Okay, so but here's the funny part. He didn't have range on the jump shot, and you still couldn't stop him from getting to the basket. What does that tell you?
Exactly.
He would have evolved into the guy like that because his shooting touch, he would have developed that because he developed it later in his career. I think if he didn't get injured, it would have been developed a little bit earlier because defenses would have tried to take away certain things. He would have to be able to have that. But at the time, you were only shooting 2 to 3, maybe 4 3-point shots anyway. So a lot of what ifs, bro. A lot of what
All
ifs.
right. Tell me about playing with Yao.
Funny. I loved it. Got to go to China because of Yao the first time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were in the first.
Was he your tour guide?
Hey, you know what? We had a great tour guide, but he would point out stuff. Yao was funny because this was the first year of the China games in 2004. So we had an opportunity to go over there and play, man. It was phenomenal. But Yao was so funny because he understood English until he didn't want to. And he knew how to speak English until he didn't want to. If somebody asked a question or something, and Yao was like, I don't understand what you say. That's how Yao was. Oh, man, Yao was the best, man. Great personality. I'm fortunate that, he had his foot problems, in his career. Soft touch, could pass the heck out the ball. I think one of the things, though, and people talk about Yao and not being the bulldog, that's culture. That's culturally,
Yep.
especially being, I think, in the Chinese culture, him being so big, he had to downplay that and make himself less intimidating while he was growing up because he was so intimidating as a human being. His personality had to bring that down. And I think that was part of the challenge and the difficulty and the dichotomy as him as a basketball player, because you never saw Yao really get it too excited or try to really be dominant like that, because culturally that wasn't really accepted from him. And that carried to his personality on the basketball court.
One thing that always stood out to me about Yao, forget about his game. He was so big, but his face, like his head, is so big. Like it was actually in proportion with the rest of his body.
It
But
was.
I was doing stats at a Blazers game against the Rockets when Yao was there, and I'm just sitting courtside going, like, it reminded me of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And you see those characters, and they're like, that's what it felt like for me watching them. What was it like standing next to him?
What would be more amazing? His head size proportion to his body, or a smaller head on that big body? Okay.
If he had a smaller head, we call him Beetlejuice.
Okay, exactly. So, as big as you say it was proportionate to his body. But he had a big brain. He had a outstanding understanding and IQ for the game and how to play. Probably, I would say, I don't know if people really appreciated he's in the Hall of Fame. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But how skilled that Yao Ming was at the time. I mean, Shaq was so dominant. He was kind of the opposite of that. But the injuries really prevented him from really, I think, really being the kind of more of an iconic type of NBA center player. Kind of like Sabonis when he came over. He was on the back end of his career. I played with Sabonis in Portland. We caught the end of who he could have been, and I don't think we really saw the complete package, the complete player.
He's not your Vetus. He's not my Vetus.
He's our Vetus.
Our Vetus.
Yeah.
On that same team with by the way, small world. My wife is from China. Her cousin was in Yao's wedding.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah. That's
small
how
world.
And the funny part is, like, she knows nothing about sports, but she knew who Yao Ming was.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, yeah, my cousin was in his wedding. I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what?
But she just casually threw it out there, right?
Yeah. So people also, when you think back to that Houston team, Stevie Franchise, like, I think people forget how nasty that dude was.
Well, it's because at the time he didn't win. He was great. Steve is a great person. The basketball side of it with Rudy Tomjanovich was probably good and bad. because it allowed Steve to kind of do whatever he wanted, but I think he picked up a lot of bad habits that hurt him when he had to play play with and for a more disciplined coach like Jeff Van Gundy.
Okay.
Kind of the same situation. Jimmy Lynam, Allen Iverson, play how you want. Larry Brown comes in, Allen Iverson, it's a clash because how they value the point guard in reference to running a team, not turning the basketball over, making smart decisions. It was anti that for Steve and Allen, not because they were trying to buck the system. It's because that's how they were allowed to play previously.
Yeah.
I think if Steve, say he comes in from Maryland and he plays for Jeff Van Gundy right away, he gets it. Steve was kind of player that, okay, this is what you want me to do, need me to do, I'll do it. Allen the same way. But because Steve had a little longer leeway of playing how he wanted to, Stevie franchise, it was hard to break that mold with Jeff Van Gundy. Even though Allen only had 1 year, but it was such a dominant, successful rookie year. You come from Jimmy Lynam letting you do everything. I'm talking about then you go into Larry Brown that's controlling everything. You don't have a center point at all. It's going from here to here. And that's tough. And that's why the clashes were there. I was there. That's why the clashes were there, especially those two. But Steve, he can go get it, man.
That is a great comparison. I never even thought of it like that and why it happened like that. Because now you talk, Allen Iverson says, man, I love Larry Brown. Like what he did for me, like I didn't appreciate it then, but I appreciate it now.
Well, to think about it, who did he play for? Who did Allen play for in college? John Thompson. John let him go, but it was certain restrictions he had on Allen too. But he allowed Allen to grow and trust him. He trusted him over the years. Same thing you got to do with a Larry Brown and a Jeff Van Gundy. They trust you. The rope is going to get longer. They're going to give you leeway. They're going to allow you to make decisions and allow you to control. Maybe you run stuff. Okay, I got you. I know I can trust your decision making, but you got to build that trust. And at the beginning, it's very difficult when you're accustomed to playing a certain way.
Yeah. So tell me about Sacramento, building the trust. You joined Chris Webber. So it's Ohio State, Michigan, and you're joining forces. How did it go?
Two things. Shout out Rick Adelman, one of my favorite coaches to ever play for. Okay, first and foremost. His demeanor, his understanding. It was Pete Carril running a little bit of that triangle, the pass and cut offense, the Princeton offense. So that's one. Second, the love of the game for me came back in Sacramento. And it was twofold. One, we were winning, but Mike Bibby, Bobby Jackson, Vlade, Divac, Peja, Hito was a rookie, Gerald Wallace, Scott Pollard, Keon Clark, Mateen Cleaves, Doug Christie. We had so much fun together as a group. I mean, when I tell you, we would all hang out together. And I came in a little bit later, like after Thanksgiving, because Peja got hurt, so I didn't go to camp. But this was a team. I mean, the true essence of what a team meant. Everybody kind of knew their roles. They played their roles. They supported each other. And the love of how you play the game and being with your teammates and celebrating victory, but also there in defeats. It brought back this. I said, this is what the NBA, this is what playing is all about. Great coaching staff, outstanding coaching staff, but outstanding individuals on that team collectively brought the spirit and the joy back to me. And that probably was, besides getting traded from Dallas, was the one that hurt me the most when I was a free agent the next year and they chose to go in a different direction. Despite the role that I played, that one still stings. Because I thought I finally found the home I was looking for to kind of finish out my career was in Sacramento.
And it's so crazy to think because Sacramento might be one of the smallest cities in the NBA. People are like, I don't want to go to Sacramento. I don't want to do this.
Until you're there. Like OKC, I don't want to go to OKC. When you're there and you're winning, now it could be really small when you're losing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're winning in OKC, that's it. In Sacramento, that's it. You're the center of attention. So, and the fans had always been great in Sacramento, just didn't have a great product all the time. But the support was just there. It was just, remember the cowbells?
Of course.
I'm telling, it was electric in that arena. And Arco
Arena.
It give me chills right now. Those playoff games and those big games. That was the beauty. Until you're there, you think about it. He's playing Sacramento all the time. Like, man, would not want to play. Got there, totally changed everything. Now, again, but when you're winning, it changes. You win in New York feels different. You lose in New York, it's still New York, but it still feels a little different. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's not discount the winning part and how that affects your personality, your mood, but also your environment.
What would you guys do? You said you were a team. What are some of the things that you guys would do off the court together that just was unlike any other team that you experienced?
I remember one time we rented on the buses or the vans or whatever it was. We went to a Raider game in Oakland as a group, which was bananas. I think they might have been playing the Chargers. It was the Raiders crowd was off the hook, but just hanging out doing that. I mean, one time it was after a game. We were on a mini road trip in between two cities, maybe flying to Denver from somewhere, but we end up going to Las Vegas for the night.
I knew you were going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when an NBA team on an off day rolls into Vegas?
Now, here's the thing. So at the time, the Maloofs owned the Palm. But we couldn't stay there for free because it was like circumventing the salary cap. So we paid for our own rooms. I know Chris Webb that night hit him for a lick at poker. I know that. He came with a suitcase after that, came out of there. He was playing high-end, high-stakes poker. And we were just hanging out as a group, bro. I mean, it's just that kind of stuff.
All right. So, Jim, you got to tell me, you guys all go to Vegas, NBA team, off day, C-Webb comes out with a whole ton of money. What do you guys, I mean, are you cheering him on when he's playing? Like, what's happening?
Man, I got out the room. It was too much money going on right there. I left. I play a little blackjack, messed around. I think we went maybe get something to eat. Went to they had the Ghost Bar at the time at the Palm.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have went there. I think we did to go there to have some fun. But it's just one of those things where we didn't do a lot, but we did enough. We only had so many hours to do something. Went in, got out, met the team wherever we was traveling the next day. I can't remember, but that was what we did. We were in New York one time playing the Knicks, and a good friend of mine came and picked us up. We had a caravan. It was maybe me, Bibb, C-Webb, the team, Damon Jones, who else? Bobby. Just went out. Dinner, boom. Or we would be on the road and Vladimir may be somewhere, then we end up linking up together somewhere else. Movie, dinner, whatever it is. That's just how our team was, man. Unbelievable.
That sounds like so much fun.
Oh, bro, it was. And that's, it's tough because in NBA and in professional sports, guys have other things, families, whatever it is that takes away from kind of that team bondship. Even though you spend a lot of time around each other, but it's that kind of spending time was different because we were actually doing stuff in the evenings as a group, not as pods or individuals or two or three here. We did the same thing when we were in Phoenix too. I mean, we would go out and hang out. Our managers would be out with us. We had so much fun. Those were the two teams where we talked about having team and camaraderie and why did you win and why? Well, it goes back to that. Genuinely, guys really liked each other, which led to love playing with each other. You can trust each other. And that's something that's a value to, I think if you look at all winning teams, AKA a la OKC, that is real, that they have that camaraderie.
Yes, it is.
And when things get tough, those are the guys you got to depend on.
All right. So I know this was a very different team, but the last one I want to ask you about is the Lakers. I believe it was the 05 season, first one for Kobe without Shaq. Is that right?
Yep, 05, 06.
05, 06. What was it like going there? Because now Kobe knows he's the guy. There's no Shaq, and you're coming in. Obviously, you've got credibility about you, but that's a different team than what they were accustomed to.
Well, it's twofold. One, I didn't get there until late in the season after I left Phoenix. So I wasn't there from the beginning, from training camp or anything like that, to kind of see the mindset with Kobe, how he approached the season. I caught it on the back end.
Mhm.
Even though I've known Kobe for years, especially when he came in the league at 18 years old, but I didn't know Kobe like that. We competed and played and did all of that. But being able to get there in the few months that I was able to spend with Kobe, I really got the picture of one, the player, but more importantly, the man behind the jersey. Whereas, and let me explain why, because I just told you about what we would do in Houston,
Right.
in Sacramento or Phoenix and go out, even other teams. We had restaurants in Dallas when we would travel, say, let's just all meet up at the spot. I'll take care of it, whatever, whatever. Ironically, when I got to the Lakers, Kobe and I, clicked a little bit, and he told me that, night before the game, he loves a really good steak. I said, oh, okay, well, when we go travel to this spot, I'll show you a couple places I know. So a few times we would go out before, night before the game, go to steak place and just talk. And we just talk about life and basketball. And I'm not trying to sit here and say I was Kobe's best friend and
Right. No, no.
all of that, but it gave me a little bit more context and insight into the mindset, why he was the way he was, how he thought, how he approached not only the game, but the game of life, and why he was so maniacal about the little things that it takes to win. And it's ironic because he had two bodyguards at the time. And at one point, one of the bodyguards came up to me and said, this is weird. I was like, what? He said, Kobe doesn't really do this with his teammates. I said, what, go out to eat? He was like, yeah. Kobe usually, will grab something and go back to his hotel room. So for me to be in his presence like that and for him to accept me over a short period of time, okay? And maybe because I was a veteran
Mhm.
and he respected that. Then when we played each other, he respected I always would compete against him. That his guard may have been down a little bit, not as guarded as an individual, allowed to open up because there's no judgment for me.
Right.
No, I appreciated just the time and that we spent. So he was, but I could tell that season, then moving forward, he was on a mission to prove that he can win without Shaq. He didn't have to say it,
Mhm.
but you can see in his demeanor and personality how much it meant to him to win. I'm not gonna say on his own, because you need the
Right.
other 8, 9 players, 10 players to win. But without the presence of Shaq, who was such a dominant force and individual at the time, and all the noise of what you only wanted because of Shaq, and Shaq was the real best player on the team, or whatever, whatever. So you can kind of feel that within Kobe.
Before I move on to the final segment, I just want to know 12 teams, 14 years, all the different coaches, all the different systems. How do you, as a player, when you go to a new team, acclimate yourself, learn the system, and get yourself in and ready so that you are a real part of that team, that you're not just, oh, this guy, Jim Jackson, yeah, he could play. But how do you become Jim Jackson? I'm a member of the Rockets. I'm a member of
Mhm.
the Kings, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's two different things. One, being traded in the middle of the season compared to a free agency, being traded in the offseason, going to camp is different. Because in camp, you can establish some things because you have time. The tougher part is being traded in the middle of the season and then having to fit what you do into a new team. I think the beauty of the injury with me back my third year is it expanded my versatility, even though I was always a versatile player. I had to learn how to play without being as athletic. Okay. So all the little things you really have to do. So I would always assess going to a new team, okay, what are they missing? What do they need? Scoring was one thing. I know I could score the ball, but you
Mhm.
already had scores. So take example, When I went to Golden State, got traded, I got a chance to play point guard again. Played it in Jersey a little bit for John Calipari, but I was playing point with PJ Carlissimo. Expanding my game, making sure guys got the ball. Okay? Accepted. When I went to Portland, came off the bench, I played a certain role. Went to Sacramento, I said, you know what? We got Bibby, you got B-Jack, you got Vlade can score, C-Webb can score. So let me do what Doug does, play defense. That'll get me not only in the game, but be able to finish games. And then while I'm in there offensively, I'm able to add value. So those teams that I went to always try to assess maybe what I could do that wasn't, I'm going to say not being done, but take it to another level.
Yeah.
Phoenix was the same way. It was a 3-point shooting team. I came from Houston. I was like, oh, I can do this. Let me just spot up and get to my spots and play defense and rebound. Okay? Because we were a smaller team. So it was important that a guard forward could help rebound with Amari inside and Sean. So that's how, and then just at the end of the day, the game is the game.
Right.
Certain sets you're going to run are universal. Certain language may be different, but it's the same kind of sets. And I always prided myself, because I played point guard in high school and I was a guard, that I would know each position on what their responsibilities were on the court. Okay? I know what the center should be doing, forward, point guard, my position, whatever. I knew that. So learning plays and being put in different positions was no problem with me because I had a really good grasp on what our offense and defense required. So that allowed me to adjust a lot easier, even though it may have been a quote unquote new system.
So I just want to get this straight then. You played point guard in high school. You said that play, you also jumped center for the ball, for the tip in high school. So you're the point guard going for the jump ball, and then you reverse, go for the alley-oop.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So I want to make sure you got this, buddy. My freshman year in high school, I played point guard.
Okay.
When I was at these camps, when I was growing, I played point guard. It was like this 6'4", 6'5" guy playing point guard. So throughout my high school career, I ended up playing center, but I played everything else. I played everything. I handled the ball, played point. I did everything. When I was at Ohio State, I played the 2-3, but I played point guard too. My second year in the NBA, when we traded, the Mavericks traded Derek Harper, for the remainder of the season, I played point guard. So that answers your question. Like I played everything. So that's why I was comfortable in every position. It was even what year was it? My second year? Second year in Dallas was, Otis Thorpe was there. I was playing the 4 because we had to go small.
Right.
You know, may have been that year. And my second year. It might have been my 5th year. One of those.
Damn.
So it is what it is, bro.
All right. Well, got to end all my podcasts with a segment I call This Just In. Kind of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
But you can have fun with it. The most talented team you have ever been a part of?
The 98-99 Portland Trailblazers.
Why?
Too deep at every position. Think about that team. Brian Grant, Arvydas Sabonis, a young Jermaine O'Neal, Rasheed Wallace, okay? J.R. Ryder, Damon Stoudemire, Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon, Walt Williams, myself, Bonzi Wells was young.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Yeah. That's talent. Yeah. Okay. Toughest player you had to defend?
Toughest player that I had to defend? I mean, you're a little young, Jay. So you're a little young. You may not have heard this guy he played in Chicago, wore the number 23 and won 6 titles. Might be considered the greatest of all time.
LeBron? No, just kidding.
I'm sure he'll tell you that one.
Yeah.
As he should. But no, Michael.
So, okay. So my next question was,
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
Who was really tough to guard were guys like Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton.
Oh, because they move nonstop.
All the time. You know, you can figure some things out with a guy with the ball, but those two, Ray Allen early, when he's running around, it's hard. You got to think Steph moved. Steph moves a lot more, but that's how it was with those guys. Glenn Rice was tough to guard.
Oh, bigger, can
Yep.
shoot, put it on the floor.
And had a high release.
Mm-hmm.
Allen Houston, the trail. Bro, I keep going down the list, man. It was two guards. Think about it, in the 90s, two guards and centers were kind of your two positions.
Yep.
Then the power forwards and then the point guards. But it was a two I had to play against every night.
Give me your best MJ story.
Real quick, Jersey playing. It was a 96, 97 year. We beat them in New Jersey. Sam and I had 20-plus points, what I've told you this before. We beat them. Go back to Chicago. We're playing them. Me and MJ going back and forth talking crazy, right? I mean, crazy. Steve jabbed the official. Didn't want to call a foul. Mike was like, why you didn't call it? Steve was like, I thought you was going to blow by him. I was like, no, he's not. He ain't blowing by anybody. I can play D. He said he can't guard me. You can't guard me. So anyway, we go back and forth. We lose the game. I have 33. Jordan have 28, 30 something maybe. We're walking through the layup line. Joe Klein, former Bull, now with us at the Nets, was like, he's like, MJ, Jimmy, my guy, man. Stay off him a little bit. Mike said, no, JJ, my guy. Just tell him that's why he wearing my shoes. Classic. And I said, you right? And I'm not taking them off. I was wearing Jumpman. I'm not taking them off. Now what?
All right, so you have to tell me, like, when you're talking smack, what are you guys saying to each other?
I'm like, man, stop. I'm like, I should tell Kobe this. Man, stop complaining, man, about a foul. You get the foul every damn time down the court. You want every foul? So they would do it. I would foul them real hard. I said, see, that's a foul. Just take one. But they were like, you can't guard me. You want to get up on me. And I'm like, probably can. But you giving me 50, go do what? It ain't like, and you didn't give it to nobody else. But I'm not going to sit here and not go back at you and just let you just do whatever you want to do. You know, you got to guard me too. I wish I could have been healthy. This is where I wish my health wasn't impacted. That if I was the healthy me and I grew, how would I really have competed at my game against them when I was at full health like they were, when I had my full abilities? You know, that's nothing against them. That's just personally for me.
No, because I could see you with your build and how strong and thick you are. Like, that could have posed a different type of obstacle for.
Well, but also too, because I played a different game offensively too, because I was big, but I could handle and I could shoot it. I could pass it. So I had something that I think they had to be able to respect a little bit as an offensive player, that they would have to guard. They wouldn't get a night off because I would be involved. Not to say, you talking about Michael Jordan, bro. I mean, not only best offensive player, but one of the best, greatest defensive players to ever play the game. It ain't like I'm sitting here saying that me and Mike go up against each other. I'm giving them 30 every time we play. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I would have been in a better position at full healthy to really been more competitive. I had some good games against Chicago and against Jordan. But to me, it wasn't who I was originally, who I knew my potential and my talent was pre my injury.
Yeah.
So that,
Who is the most underrated player you played with and also against?
Underrated Sharunas Marcelonis that played for Golden State. Unbelievable. Hard to guard. Hard. He can't, European, strong, big, came at you like a truck. Put that knee in your chest. I mean, one of the most underrated players I ever played against. And I was young in my career too. That kind of showed me how talented, not just the NBA, but the world of basketball was. And again, Europeans weren't dominating the league like that at the time, but Sharunas could play. On my team, that's a tough one, Just. I was underrated. I'm going to say Brian Grant, man. For what Brian did, the dirty work, the little things. And at the time, power forwards were huge in the league. And he was an undersized center, kind of, but he rebounded. He could shoot it to 15 feet, unselfish. But because, the names were bigger, Brian never really got the love, but we knew how good he was.
Favorite city that you got to call home?
See, depends, play or just city? Play
Let's go city that you called home and favorite city to go play in.
Well, I mean, I lived in Miami and LA, bro. And I lived in Hoboken, which is right outside the city of New York. So
right.
the top 3 right there, man. I mean, can't beat
Okay.
you can't beat living in Miami in December, January when it's still 75, 80 degrees. Sorry.
And since I know you so well, who was the one who got you hooked on cigars?
Ron Harper.
Oh,
Damn
really?
it. Yeah. When they were on the second three-peat, so Ron is from Ohio, he's from Dayton. We had the same agent. Of course, when I was in Dallas at the time, we weren't going to playoffs. So I would go to Chicago and hang with him, and they were smoking cigars. That's how he got me hooked on this bad habit that I just can't shake. Yeah.
Now, do you still have the habit of eating a big soft pretzel before every
Every
game?
game. I don't care where I'm at, Justin. I'm glad.
Yes.
Listen, by hook or by crook, it can be one of them nasty. I know it's one of those that they just got out the freezer. They put it in the little rotating thing and it just heated it up. I can tell.
Mhm.
It's the pretzel is too perfect.
Yes.
It's been frozen. But every arena I go to, I always get a pretzel.
All right. Best arena pretzel. Where?
I'm gonna tell you what, Creighton University got a great one. Now remember, I do college and pro.
Oh, I know.
Houston, the Rockets, the Bavarian, up there up top, like where we sit at, bro. Sometimes I have 2, I have one at halftime. Brooklyn, Madison Square Garden, the worst because it's the frozen one.
Correct.
Frozen. I was just at Utah. Utah got a good one. Bavarian. Oh yeah, big one. Oh, get you right before the game, man. Sometimes I don't even have to have a pregame meal. I just know I'm gonna have a good pretzel at some of these places.
I love it. I love it, dude. I'm so glad you're still doing that. I miss working with you, but I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh
It was
man.
great to catch up with you.
Nah, man. Congratulations on everything, man. We came a long way from doing those Big East games and everything else, man, and Big Ten stuff. But it's a great career, isn't it? And
It
the
is.
beauty of it is, let's say this before I go, is because I do both. I started in '07. So to be able to watch the young men who started their college careers, let's say Draymond Green. I got a chance to watch him from his freshman year all the way through now playing. A Jalen Brunson, a Josh Hart, that whole crew, DiVincenzo,
Mhm.
Mikal Bridges, when they started and won it. The list goes on and on. The players I got a chance to see when they were fresh young faces in college to now these seasoned pros and even the young guys this year. That's the beauty of what I do. The combination of doing college and pros allows me to see the hidden gem, the untapped talent to what it could be and what it turns out to be ultimately when it blossoms into the league. Feel like a proud parent, man. You know, when you see him, you're like, oh man, I remember when I covered your game doing this, and now look at you. It's just that's the beauty of what we do, man.
And the beauty of it is now you go see Jalen Brunson, you say, "Hey, you're picking up dinner
Oh,
this time."
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right, bro. Take care. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Couple times.
This
Oh,
time you got me.
that's right.
Dude, JJ, thank you so much, man. Best of luck to you this year, broadcasting wise. I know you got your podcast with all that stuff. You're always a busy dude, and I really appreciate you carving out some time for me. This is a lot of fun, man.
Come on, man. Anytime, Jess. Appreciate
All
you,
right.
brother. Let's do it
Appreciate you, man.
again. All
Yep.
right.